Everybody, welcome back to the Samsung stage on the final day of E3. I'm your host Cam Robinson, and I'm joined by two lovely gentlemen. We have Ryu, Michael. How you doing, guys?
Hey.
Welcome to the stage. Let's go for the handshake.
Thank you.
Why not? It's the right thing to do. Felt right. Okay, so guys,
Yeah.
you are going to show off Rise of Incarnates today.
Right.
Now, if you're at home right now, our viewers, they haven't heard of Rise of Incarnates. What is it? Give us a lowdown.
Okay, I guess we'll ask the executive producer of you about this. So,
Sure.
what do you think?
そうですね。まあバンダイナムコゲームズが、久々に送るブランニュー IP、ブランニューシステムの新しい、タイプのゲームです。で、まあ名前はライズオブインカーネッツ。リリースに関しては Steam でしかもフリートゥープレイで、やります。詳しい説明はじゃあマイケルの方から。
So this is a brand new title that we're showing off at E3. It's a brand new IP as well called Rise of Incarnates. It's free to play. It's going to be on Steam. So
Okay.
the basic match format is 2-on-2, and it's got elements of both fighting and shooting kind of mixed into this hybrid action. It's 4 players as well.
4 players.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So it's 2-on-2, 3D fighting game, brawling around, that kind of idea.
Right.
Fantastic. Well, we've actually got some. You guys have brought some footage with us.
Yes, we
so
did.
let's throw it up on screen, and you guys can maybe talk over.
Yeah,
and
that sounds good.
And let us know what's going on. Give us a bit more detail. I want to know more about the action, more about the combat. In fact, I think we're starting with is it a trailer?
Okay.
So is this like this? So tell us the setting. Like, where does this fight take place? What's going on in the world?
So what
Apart
this
from trucks
is
exploding against buildings.
this is actually the announcement trailer that we showed off last month.
Okay.
So this is taking place in New York. This is one particular stage that the players will see first. So as you can see, we have these people called Incarnates, and they're these humans. For some reason, one day a special power is kind of awoken in them. And so the Incarnate, they're able to call out this deity to fight alongside of them, either a god or demon. It depends on the character. So
Okay.
some people call them, summon them, and they'll fight alongside them. And some people actually transform
Like
into
this
that
guy here.
counterpart.
He just
Right.
transformed. Yeah.
And so they're actually set in real-world locations, this being New York, obviously. In the alpha, we actually had a alpha test that we allowed players to play last month, and New York was the first stage. So as you can see, you've got 2-on-2. He actually just summoned the character there, so he's fighting alongside him.
Yep.
It's called Ares, and he's actually, the deity will mirror what you're doing. So if you shoot, he shoots with you. If you fight, he fights with you. You can send him off for an attack, and then you can combo on him. So each of these unique abilities, each character possesses something. The one you saw, Grim Reaper, at the end of the trailer, he's really
Yeah.
cool. A tricky character, he'll call forth these zombies. And you can send them to attack your enemy. Maybe they'll kind of hold them while you
Okay.
pound on them. You can shoot the zombies and make them bigger. So he has a lot of cool, tricky techniques.
Ooh.
But the action itself is 2-on-2.
Yeah.
And the controls are very simple. So, you know, a lot of fighting games, people are maybe kind of skittish at first because they think they have to be able to pull off these very complex commands. But this isn't the case. So you have very simple controls, and they're standardized. So you learn one character, you can easily
So you can like easily pick up another one and just
Easily.
get started.
Right.
Cool.
So where the depth in gameplay actually comes about is you and your partner, how you fight together. So you might want to kind of team up on your opponent and double team them.
So can you do things like, I don't know, one person knocks them up in the air, another person juggles them with guns or that type of thing? Yeah.
You
All right.
can.
Cool. All right. Yeah.
So with some of the melee attacks, for example, if you input forward in melee, you do this cool combo that most of them end in a launcher. And if your partner is close by and they're watching, they'll see this prompt on screen where they can either input a shoot button to do a shooting attack to finish the combo, or if they're close by, they can do a melee and they'll jump up in the air, grab their opponent, slam them into the ground. Those kind of cool things for spectacular damage.
Gotcha,
So it's
gotcha.
all about how you work together with your partner.
So that character seemed to be like a giant walking robot thing.
Right. So the trailer they're showing right now, this is what the new one we had for E3.
Okay.
So we initially had 4 characters at the alpha build, and in this character you'll see 2, which are quite different from the other 4. Brynhilde, she's riding the motorcycle, very quick movement.
Yeah.
And then there's the Odin, who's riding the tank.
Yeah.
So he's kind of a little bit slower, but you see these missile attacks and such. And so you saw the laser, right, where we just destroyed the Arc de Triomphe,
Yeah.
which actually happens in-game. There's in-stage destruction. And that
Okay.
laser is an actual attack that he possesses. So you can see there's a lot of variety in the characters. You can choose the one that suits your playstyle. And so if we're a team, right, we're going to want to make a very compatible team. So maybe he'll pick Odin so he can attack from behind with massive shooting attacks. I'll pick maybe the blonde-haired guy, Mephistopheles, because he's very good at the close-in attacks. So I'll be on the front line, keeping them at bay while he pounds them from the rear. So there's different, not only who you choose, but how that works with the character that your partner's chosen as well.
Fantastic.
So that's kind of the essence of 2-on-2.
So you said it's a free-to-play game coming to Steam. So how many characters are kind of available, without paying anything when it's free? And how do you go about unlocking them if you want to choose other characters?
Well, currently, we've had 4 playable, and then the 2 characters we're showing now. We're still in alpha. We have a beta coming up soon. We haven't announced a date yet. So these are only the 6 that we've announced so far. But we'll be updating the game. It's online, so updating with new content, be that stages, new customization items and such, and we'll gradually be releasing new characters as well. But what we can talk about at this point are those 6.
Okay. And how much do you envisage it costing for a new character? Have you thought about costing yet? Do you have any ideas?
Well,
it's always a tricky one, I guess.
As far as pricing goes, I guess monetization is one thing that a lot of people are worried about with a free-to-play game. Since this is a new IP, and it's a new playstyle for the West, this 2-on-2 concept, we wanted them to be able to play the game as much as possible. So there's no kind of stamina system or pay-to-play kind of stuff. So people are going to be playing the game as much as they want. Where we monetize is the actual customization of the characters. So,
so
the look of them.
So you have access to all the characters all the time?
How you unlock the characters is something we're still discussing internally.
But it's not necessarily it's not going to be necessarily as simple as you pay money for this character, whereas the other one's free, or
it could be that you pay for it. It could be that you unlock through gameplay.
Okay,
that's something we haven't really worked out yet. But we'll have some more details on that later on.
That sounds good. I mean, I guess. How does it work because obviously in fighting games, balance is super important, right?
Right.
And I guess it must become slightly more complicated because you got this co-op element, right? Because some pairs are going to be way more powerful than others. So how do you balance for pairing?
Right. Actually, no, this is especially for Ryu, so I think because he's been working on the Gundam Versus series in Japan. キャラのバランスどうやってやるのかな、その組み合わせもあるだろうしって、ちょっと経験のある馬場さんに振ろうかと思って。
いわゆる対戦格闘ゲームだとね、1対1の調整ですけれども、このゲームの場合2対2でやるので、さらにですね、コストシステム、ライフプール、チームライフプールという今回システムを取ってるんですけども、その、バランスでの調整であるとか、あとは組み合わせの妙ですよね、強いキャラクターとすごいコストの高いキャラ同士を組ませても勝てないですし、いかにバランスよくチームを組むかで相手に対してどう戦略を立てていくかというところも、このゲームの、バランスの難しいところなんですけど、逆に言うと深みであるとか面白みであると、ポイントなのかなというふうに思います。
オンラインゲームなんで何かあったら
そうですね。プレートはどんどん上がっていくと思うので、必ず最適なバランスで、リリースするっていうことは、ユーザーの皆さんの方には約束したいなというふうに思ってます。
So one thing that's kind of a staple of these 2-on-2 games, but the Western audience isn't very familiar with this genre yet. So you'll see these various characters, right? Like the female character Lilith. There's this team life pool that you share. So for a team, we have our own character's life gauge per se, and then we have a team life gauge.
And is the team life gauge just the 2 characters' lives
on your
combined?
Team, your particular team. So the way it works is if I'm playing as her, and I die because I run out of my character's health, I can still respawn as long as we still have some team life pool. Right? And so you can do that as many times as long as you have that team life pool still available.
Gotcha.
And the cost of the characters is different. So she's very quick, not very powerful attacks, but very quick and agile. And so you're going to be moving around and shooting while trying to grab your opponent for a powerful attack. But since she's not as strong, her cost is very low. And then the other character...
When you say cost, you mean cost for like a respawn, you mean? Or
yeah, from the team life pool.
Gotcha.
And then when you have Arius, the guy who is summoning the god alongside him, he's got a lot of life, his attacks are powerful, so the cost of it is higher. So, right? So when you die with him, it takes a lot more of your team life pool. So what Ryu was just saying was one way we balance it is by how much the cost of the characters is set at. So obviously, like a fighting game, he was saying that their attacks, their life, how much movement and such range they have, all of that stuff is balanced. But on top of that, we kind of balance it with the cost as well. So we take these characters, and as you were saying, it depends on the pairing as well. We pair all these different characters to make sure that there's no like broken team or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that's what one of the main staples is, as he was saying. And also it's an online game, so if something occurs that we weren't foreseeing, we can address that as well.
Yeah, you can update it and address balance issues like that. I mean, I
Right.
guess, and I'm sure as you add more characters, you're going to have to constantly rebalance. But that's
Right.
part of, I think it's like just part of nature of producing online games today. It's
Right.
but it's great, right? I mean, it means you
Yeah.
can constantly give us the best experience that you're trying to get, which is
Right.
pretty sweet. And now, if you're watching this at home, actually, and you've got some questions for
Right.
either Michael or Ryu, then the best thing to do would be to tweet at me, and that is at CamFrazRob. I got Twitter open right here in front of me, and I will throw the questions to these guys. So that's at CAM. In fact, it's coming up on screen. There it is, at CamFrazRob. And I will do my best to pass them along. So tell me about this character. So you said you've shown off, is it 6 in total so far? So who's this guy?
You're seeing Mephistopheles. So we refer to them by their deity name.
Okay.
And the deities that they summon or transform into are taken from mythology from around the world. So, you know, Mephistopheles, Lilith, Ares. You have all these different well-known deities. So he's your kind of average guy where, as far as cost goes, not too low, not too high. As such, his abilities are pretty much, the standard. He's almost kind of like a main character in the game as well. So as you see, he has all of them have shooting attacks and melee attacks, right? And depending on the character, for example, Ares is stronger at shooting attacks, where some characters are better at melee. He's kind of balanced between both. He can do both pretty well. And as you see, he'll transform into the deity Mephistopheles. So he turns into this red and black demon. As you also saw in the trailer, it looks pretty cool, right? And so his melee attacks, he'll throw the person up in the air and he'll continue to do multiple attacks and then slam them into the ground. His shooting attacks are also enhanced when he's in his transformed state. But it's a limited amount of time that he can transform. And then you have to wait for the cooldown, so until he can use the ability again.
Okay.
But that also depends on the character. For example, Lilith, she can transform at any time as long as she's close to the opponent, and kind of a throw mechanic where she'll grab them, kind of a kiss of death per se, and then transform into her alternate incarnate. And she doesn't have a time gauge or anything. She can do that as often as you're able to grab your opponent. So it's really unique depending on the character.
Cool. Well, I've just got one quick question from Twitter, and that is actually what platforms will Rise of Incarnates be coming out on? So you mentioned Steam and PC. Is there any plan to bring it to any consoles or anything like that?
馬場さん、今 Steam ということだったんだけど、他の、コンソールとかあるかという。
そうですね。全く考えてなかったわけではないんですけども、やっぱり、今回フリートゥープレイのモデルということと、多くの皆さんにこのゲームとこの IP を、広く遊んでもらいたい、知ってもらいたいという意味も込めて、まずは、Steam でフリートゥープレイでワールドワイドで、
時期もちょうどああいう時期だったんですよね。
やりたいなというのと、ちょうど2014年というタイミングが、コンソールの転換期というところもあったので、まずは我々は Steam で成功させて、その後、展開を考えていきたいなと。ただ今はまだ考えていないです。
So basically, this 2-on-2 is kind of a well-known genre in Japan, but not so much in the West. And this paired with this all-new IP is something totally new to this audience,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So we wanted to have as many people as possible and give it a try because we think pretty confident they'll like what they see. But to do that, that's why we chose Steam first, because the timing when the concept came up was right around the time when PS3 and 360 were the market was pretty ripe, but we weren't seeing the next-gen consoles yet. So to reach a lot of gamers out there, we wanted to go to Steam and then free-to-play. So first, that's our objective,
Yep.
and we have a lot of exciting things to look forward to, and hopefully when we have a lot of people excited and playing the game and we have a good fan base out there, then if they're asking for something else, it might be possible. But at the time, only
So
Steam.
you kind of see how it goes on Steam and then see if you can bring it
Exactly.
elsewhere afterwards. Wonderful, guys.
Right.
Thank you so much for coming on stage and showing off Rise of Incarnates. It's been a pleasure. And
Thank you.
yeah, make sure you enjoy the rest of your E3. Now, if you're watching at home, don't go anywhere. We're going to cut away for just a few minutes, but then we're going to be back on stage. And Lisa Foyles, who's been all over E3, wandering around for GameSpot, chatting to loads of interesting people, she's going to be up on the stage having a chat with me. So we'll be back in just a few minutes.